Hey, let me give you a quick reminder of the big stories we're tracking for you at this hour. As expected, a little more room to maneuver this morning as the country enters level 2 of the nationwide lockdown. All kinds of liberties to consider. We'll take you through all of that. Plus, sadly, 143 more people have succumbed to COVID-19 in South Africa. This has taken the death toll now to almost 12,000. It's these stories and plenty others we're watching for you on the 405 Diary. And let's jump straight into it. It appears to be a very busy day for the Public Protector today. She'll be doing a visit to various hospitals in Gauteng that have been plagued by a string of allegations that have to do with maladministration and, of course, the mistreatment of patients, amongst many other concerns. Some of the culprits, in fact, you already know about. George Mukhari Hospital, you remember that institution was where a 2-year-old girl was allegedly raped while she was in quarantine, plus a doctor had died after various staff members had actually complained about a dire shortage of personal protective equipment. The Public Protector, we understand, is going to start her visit there. But in her diary is also visiting the Jubilee Hospital, also really plagued with all kinds of issues. That institution is in Hammanskraal, and Charlotte Maxeke Academic Hospital, which we also know to be one of the major quarantine sites in the country, or at least COVID-19 treatment hospitals, to be more precise. So Autumali Mahladi is going to be keeping up with the Public Protector today, once again, on that very busy news day ahead, so to speak. Plus, in Soweto, of course, all eyes are on ways through which restaurateurs are going to be taking advantage of the newfound opportunity to finally trade again, especially with the alcohol sales being allowed for sit-in customers. You'd remember when we went to level 3 of the lockdown, restaurants were already allowed to operate during that period, but a lot of complaints were raised about how this is still not worth their while, considering that a good portion of their income comes from customers who are able to buy a drink alongside their meals. So our Sipakema is going to be at Sakumzi, a popular joint, if you like, in Soweto, keeping a close eye on how that takes place for us. Staying with this theme, of course, arguably the biggest talking point of the day is the fact that you're allowed to sip on your favorite alcoholic beverage from today. Madonsela is covering that story for us, particularly in Mpumalanga, keeping an eye on how residents there are responding to this newfound opportunity. You remember the last time the ban on alcohol was lifted, we saw all kinds of scenes, for lack of a better term, play out at bottle stores and many other places. Madonsela will be giving us a snapshot of how the situation is looking like, particularly in Mpumalanga today. Tim Tongana, keeping with this theme, is going to be doing much of the same in the Western Cape. Important things to remember about Cape Town, though, is that this is also the place where we saw several stores being looted when the president announced that all infamous, with immediate effect, ban on alcohol sales. So we are going to be looking at the security measures that are going to be put in place there to try, at the very least, to regulate the big crowds that typically would show up at a time like this. So we also know that the Western Cape government has been at the forefront of calls to have some of these bans eased. We'll be getting a sense of their reaction then today, and whether or not they are optimistic, considering, of course, that there are still a few restrictions in place to do with level 2 of the lockdown. And a big part of what this moment also means is that you and I no longer have excuses about going to the gym in some respects. Gyms finally reopening again, at least some of them. We know Virgin Active, though, has decided to put the brakes on their plans to reopen again, because we understand that part of their safety protocols still need to be approved by government. They're hoping that they'll be able to start operations as soon as next week.